My lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is Made for Love, and today we are looking at what has your person realized about you and the connection. So we'll ask those questions. We're going to ask what have they realized about themselves through this connection. We'll look at their thoughts and feelings for you, and we'll look at what do they have to say to you. What do they want you to know? Most important message they want you to know right now. In the extended, we're going to do the same format for the third party or karmic connection. So that extended isn't for everyone. It's just for a certain, a certain group of people. The other announcement I want to make whilst I shuffle here is that I'm going to release the instructions for the holiday giveaway next week. So tune in to all platforms for that announcement. And what the prize will be. I usually give 4 prizes, inclusive of a grand prize, for each channel, both Made for Love and for Pick a Card Empress. So, and anybody you can enter on both platforms. Okay, all right, no problem. So what do we have here? We have suppression of a star being by hands unknown. So you know what I get it with this? Your person's been lying dormant, and intentionally so. Intentionally so. For some, there might have been some sort of negative interference that was also seeking to keep your person asleep and unawakened to their true potential, power, and purpose. Okay? But I feel like, because this is the second time I'm starting this reading, and the first time I started it, it had someone who wandered and found a different shepherd, and it talked about a shift in consciousness and a shift in awakening. And I feel this is what's happening with your person right now. They're awakening after a deep slumber that was part intentional, part of their soul purpose, their divine plan, but also may have even been more further prolonged by external forces, whether those forces are incarnated in a body in terms of other people around them, toxic people around them, or it could have been external negative interference from the spirit world. Okay? But it's someone who, or something, or an energy that didn't want your person to know their true potential and power as a spiritual being, right? And for centuries, we have had different systems, different persons, different principalities that have sought to keep people asleep, to keep people awake. And sometimes we do that by demonizing spirituality, spiritual power, psychic gifts, right? Things that are natural and innate to us. We say it's demonic, we say it's evil, all sorts of different things. But this is natural to us. If we are a spirit in us, in our body, and the body is just closed, then we can do spiritual things. It's natural to us, right? So this great awakening that's happening now in our world is after centuries of it, or cells of true power being contained by external forces, right? And sometimes we internalize the ideologies of these external forces, and we end up suppressing ourselves, which is what we're doing right now. All right. So let's see. Significant person's energy generally. We have dream travel, right? So whatever it is may have been trying to keep your person suppressed, and it may have been part of their divine plan. But now everything's unfolding. Look them here, astral traveling. Look them here getting messages in the dream state. You can't stop this because a natural part of who you are, and nature, and whatever is natural will always find a fucking way. Will always find a way. Will always find a way. So your person, they may have wanted to be asleep, but their spirits tell them, wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your third eye and see what is out there. So this is what your person is doing. What's happening? There are activations coming in for your person. from the dream state, the spirit world. Let's see their energy towards you. The energy towards you, we have the dragon's lair. Now, they perceive you as extremely well protected in terms of psychic defenses, your spiritual protection, whether it's come from angels, ancestors, but they're also seeing you well protected by your boundaries. And for some of you, it's not boundaries, it might even be defense mechanisms. So they see you as heavily guarded and armored against them, right? And getting through to you and penetrating your defenses, they see that as no easy feat at all. Energy towards you. We have protecting treasure. They see as you're protecting yourself. And you're protecting yourself because you see your worth, your worthiness. You have that self-confidence now. You see your value. So you're protecting yourself now. You ain't giving yourself away to all and sundry that comes. You see your value, and you will only open yourself up to someone who is worthy. And right now they're asking themselves, am I worthy? Am I worthy? So they see it heavily guarded against the riffraff, and you will only open yourself up to someone who's worthy, and they're trying to figure out, are they worthy? This is a card number 39 as well, and 39 reduced to 12. 12 is the hangman, and the hangman is a change in perspective, right? So they're also seeing you as treasure. They're also seeing you as treasure, right? And they want to protect you too. And even if it means protecting you from themselves, they're going to do that. They're going to do that, which is a beautiful energy. All right, let's see this dream and travel card. We have Two of Swords in reverse, and the Two of Swords in reverse goes to the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is illumination, enlightenment, truth, and clarity. Okay, and it feels like they're getting that through the dream state. Let's see this dream travel card. The Hierophant, right? And the Hierophant can talk about dogma. It can talk about institutions. It can talk about ideologies. It can talk about soul contracts. It can talk about or spiritual lessons. Okay, so it feels like a lot of epiphanies are coming through from for your person on all these matters, through astral travel and through their dreams. Now they're seeing you as treasure that's being protected by you, and your ancestors and your spirit guides, your angels, but they also see you as someone who may even need protection from them. Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles, right? They see your value, right? They want to put in the work, but they want to make sure that they put in the work on themselves, because it's what Eight of Pentacles is about. It's not just about putting in the work in something else or someone else, but it's also putting in the work on yourself, working on yourself to be a better individual. So that's what this person is doing right now, putting in the work so that they can really make the effort and build some kind of solid relationship, even if that relationship is a friendship or a working relationship with you. Now, let's ask Spirit, what have they realized about themselves through this connection? What have they realized about themselves? And then I will ask, what have they realized about you and the connection? What have they realized about themselves? Through this connection, what have they realized about themselves? And we have here self-attack. What they realize is that they've always been in a mode of self-sabotage. They have always been in a mode of internalized hate, some sort of self-hate going on. What they realize they've always been either maybe living with, battling with, maybe even depression, and maybe even suicidal ideation, and maybe they've never admitted that to themselves or anybody else, but maybe they've always put themselves in risky situations and may have always had addictions that may have put them in harm's way, right? May have put them in harm's way. So they've never treated themselves well. Even some of them addicted to toxic situations because they believe that's all they deserve. So this is something that they're realizing about themselves, that their self-worth, their self-worth was low down to the ground, underneath the ground. And it reminds me about a conversation I was having with myself. No, I'm not crazy. A conversation I was having with myself, and that's why I paused. A conversation that was happening with myself yesterday, and I think I'd watched maybe a TikTok or something about self-worth, and about beauty standards. We were talking about beauty standards, and I was just thinking, how I had to build my self-esteem from the ground up and create my own beauty standard, because even though I've always been beautiful, I mean, face card, hello, I've always been a fat person. I was a fat child and I am a fat adult, right? And even though in the Caribbean, you're not judged that harshly, especially as you grow older, right? They love the fluffies. There's always that measure of censure, especially from other women. And I was reflecting upon how my own beauty was not affirmed by the people around me when I was young. I mean, they they never really abused me, but they didn't affirm me either, right? And I was thinking about how every action they took communicated to me that I was wrong. So as 9 years old, they put me on diet pills. What's the messaging sent to me that there's something about me that's bad or wrong that needs to be changed, right? And then all these different diet programs. And so I always internalized the message that I was wrong. There's something about my body that is wrong. And I grew up with that. And even in my early 20s, I didn't treat myself as if I had any worth. And even before I was sexually active, because I became sexually active at 24, but I remember as an older teenager putting myself in situations and thinking that I'll be safe because who'd want to sexually assault me anyway? That's just to tell you. So it feels like your person may also be reflecting upon that and, their own lack of self-worth and the different situations that they may have put themselves in because of like this internalized hate. I hope that makes sense. Anger. And so I think that, that your person may have been the survivor of some sort of abuse. And then as they grew older, they internalized that abuse, whatever was said, and then you kind of just abuse yourself and not treat yourself right. So that's what they're realizing as well. And they may have grown up in a household where anger was unchecked. Person had whoever was the person that was angry or terrorizing the family was allowed to do so, even though there might have been another partner in the family, and then your person may continue to model that behavior, may have turned that anger, that internalized that anger upon themselves. So they're realizing that their childhood or what they were modeled or what they saw has had a big impact upon how they perceive themselves and how they perceive other people. So let us just pull some cards on that. And I was reading, it's interesting that would come up. There was an article about fathers who attack or abuse their wives and families. And, they were saying, survivors of this abuse always wonder why the person does what they do. And they often wonder, is it something conscious that they do? Or is it something unconscious and just learned behavior? And what they realized from an actual pilot study is that these persons are well aware of the benefits that they derive from abusing people. So there's no excuse for abuse, and they can't say that's just model behavior. They are very conscious of the benefit that they derive from intimidating and abusing their family. And they had a whole long bloody list. If ever you're interested in that study, because there was just so much, not being accountable, being able to dictate to the family what happened, having respect, and they mistook fear for respect, all sorts of different things, right? So if you're interested in that study, I can always put that in the comments for you guys, right? So it feels like your person, they may have been a chip off the old block, and they're now saying that this is something that they learned from watching their parents. And we have it here. We have Seven of Cups in reverse, which talks about clarity. We have Ace of Pentacles. We have Six of Swords. We have the Three of Wands, right? So your person has been doing, a lot of soul searching. And I think they've been very patient with themselves, taking a lot of time to really dive deep into why they do the things they do. And they're seeing that it started at birth. It started right here in their childhood. They're seeing that now. And they're trying to create a more stable version of themselves that respects themselves and respects other people. Now let's ask Spirit, what have they realized about you and the connection? We have accountability, okay? So if it is that your connection may have been toxic in the past, your person is recognizing exactly their role or what they contributed to the situation. I think before you might have been the villain in their story, but they're seeing how they created this situation with you guys. We have Judgment in reverse, so they see their judgment was just off. I think, they were looking at you through the lens of their father or the lens of their mother, whoever was the abuser in the family, and they just weren't perceiving things clearly. They were looking at the world through the eyes of their wounding. Four of Swords in reverse, and they couldn't see you. Everything that you did was just misinterpreted. And instead of viewing you as a member of their team, okay, and someone that they could build a solid foundation with, they saw you as competition or they saw you as the enemy. And that's because of what they witnessed as a child. Now, when they think about you and they think about this connection now, where is their mind at? We have the Knight of Swords, right? So it feels like the truth is coming hard and fast for your person. And we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and they're seeing that they weren't really a friend to you. And when you guys were in contact, they didn't treat you with the respect that you deserved. We have Ace of Cups in reverse, and they're seeing, in fact, that they were pretty toxic and they were a shitty partner. Okay, And that is something that they want to change because you are their world. Now, let's look at their current feelings for you. All right, we have stalker mode. So whatever their current feelings, they're keeping an eye on you. A very close eye. Current feelings. Okay. We have the material world. I think whatever is going through their mind, they want this connection to materialize, to ground into this 3D reality in whatever form that suits both of you guys' present situation. Okay. I also think that they might be working hard in the material world because for them, a better version of themselves also includes a more independent version of themselves. We see here yearning, right? Yearning to be with you, yearning to be near you, right? I think they may have tried to forget about you, hoping that out of sight will be out of mind, but that didn't work out. For some of them, they're really depressed. But I told you that for some of them, they may need professional help because they've always been dealing with depression. Is something that didn't want to acknowledge themselves. And then we also have stalemate energy. They don't see this connection moving forward until they self-actualize, because that's the feeling that I'm getting here. This is someone who wants to be the best version of themselves. This is someone who wants to be independent. There's someone who wants to be able to give. They don't want to be a parasite in your life. They want a symbiotic relationship where both of you guys nurture each other, and they feel like they're not in a position right now to nurture you, whether monetarily, emotionally, whatever, in whatever way, spiritually, whatever way. They don't believe that they're in a situation right now where they can do that. So for them, this relationship is on pause. And that's another bit of depressing news, because if they could have it their way, they would want this to happen right now. But they know whatever situation they're in, and for some of them, they're having some serious mental health challenges. They know they're no good for anybody right now until they get the help that they need. And I think this is what they're doing right now. But it doesn't stop the yearning. They do try not to think about you, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't go away. It's not something that goes away. Okay. Now, what is the most important message they want you to know right now? So in the extended, we'll look at the third party. We'll use the same format. And then at the end of it, we're going to ask, what is going to be their next actions towards you within a month of you watching this reading. And underneath the deck, we have twin flame. So what's the most important message they want you to know? They know that this is a spiritual connection. They know that this is special. They know that this is different. For some of them, they know the words twin flames, and they've been doing research, and it says here, this is a divine counterpart connection. So they see you as their soulmate. They see you as their divine masculine, divine feminine, divine spouse, whatever label you resonate with. So the fact that they're not in your life, or the fact that they're with someone else, or the fact that they're paying attention to themselves, doesn't take away from the fact or the knowledge that they have that you're the one. And they want you to know that. That's the most important message. They want you to know. It says here, strictly sexual. So I think in the past, and I think that's why they're taking accountability, I don't think they took this connection seriously. And I think they want you to know that. And I think they want you to know that they are changing, right? I think they thought that you were just, an option. You were just an option. This was just supposed to be a passing sexual thing, a little, entertainment. And it didn't work out that way, right? Because you guys have been through so much, and yet that love is still there. That yearning is still there. If it was just, um, sex, that would have just passed already. And it says here, working less and having more fun will help strengthen your relationship. So I feel like their plans for you in the future is for you guys to spend quality time together. Take it slow. Take it slow. And treat this relationship like the sacred relationship that they believe this connection really is. Okay? What else do they want you to know? We have find time to laugh, goof off, and enjoy each other. So, as I told you, I think that's what, that's their intention. Their intention to really nurture this connection. And then we also have children. So for some of them, they want to build a life with you, whether it is with human children or there's fur babies or some kind of project that becomes you guys' baby. So they have long-term plans for this connection, but they know it starts with being the healthiest and best version of themselves. All right. So whilst they are trying to be the healthiest and best version of themselves, what does Spirit want you to do right now? We have invention and says creativity guides. Okay, so for some of you guys, there's an idea that you've already gotten that Spirit says it's time for you to ground. And this invention can also talk about, do something different. Don't go back into the same cycles with this person. Do something different. It says here intuition and inner child. Let's see what that's about. It's a card number 42. The door to your inner child is opening, and he or she walks through, inspiring you with the gift of intuition. You may not be entirely comfortable with this newfound source of insight, and it's exactly what we opened with. Remember we talked about when that card came out, suppression of a star being by hands unknown. I was telling you, for decades, everything has been orchestrated to suppress our intuition or spiritual power, especially to suppress those or suppress those and things that resonate with the feminine, which is intuition and spiritual power. So we've come back to that message again. It says it may not be entirely comfortable. You may not be entirely comfortable with this newfound source of insight and may not know exactly what to do with it. However, don't toss it aside or try to analyze it to death. Instead, accept this gift and play with it. Apply your intuition to non-threatening situations and learn how it works. Don't try to control it because you can't. It's exciting and powerful and is to be respected and followed, not tamed. Trust your inner child's willingness to share this magic with you so that you may benefit. The message for you today is trust me. So Spirit is saying, you and your person are the only person that's getting messages at this time. You're also receiving guidance as well, and Spirit is saying, trust it. Don't let anybody or anything out there try to tell you that what you're perceiving is wrong, right? Your intuitive hits are just as relevant and just as valid as anybody else's, right? In fact, even more so, right? So whatever you think you're meant to be doing right now, do it. That's your divine guidance. Okay? I'm in love. So that was your reading. I hope that was helpful.